Well, I'm off to a great start today, aren't I? Let's try that again.
I got some breakfast. One more. One. Wrong with you yet? What? Oh, look at that! It's your little friend. Let's watch her die together, shall we? No! It's game over for both of you. No. Just for me. I'm bad, but that's good. I'll never be good, and that's not bad. There's no one I'd rather be than me. What's wrong? Why are you going into the law? No, 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 no. Go into the law.
I really don't know why it works sometimes and sometimes it doesn't. Good afternoon. It's 16 August 2023, really. And it feels like Groundhog Day. Maybe that should be the title of one of my streams, huh? Groundhog Day. All right. And let's get this up. Let's make sure it's working. Appears to be, yes, it does. It is working. Okay. A couple things did happen this week. So let's go over this list. Supreme Court 80% ban ruling, and what's next? All right. So in case you haven't been following along, which many people haven't, several groups filed an injunction against the Biden administration for, against the ATF under the Biden administration. It's an important distinction, but it's probably a distinction without a difference, to be perfectly blunt. For their frame or receiver rule. The frame or receiver rule said that anything that could be turned into a frame or receiver had to go through a background check. This vastly undercut most of the frame or receiver businesses, which one of the groups was a litigant to. I'm not going to name the names. It's bad enough already. I don't need to salt the wound. The applicant parties had won at one point. with I think it was the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals. And it went to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court said, no, actually, you didn't win. This is actually a device, a gun. All right. And yes, this background check requirement is appropriate. So we're going to let the ATF's ruling stand. Ooh. Well, that sucks, doesn't it? You spent billions of dollars, well, at least millions of dollars of your client's money, by the way, to accomplish nothing. Bravo. That's an awesome outcome for them. I'm sure that they're very, very pleased with what you've accomplished. It's going to get worse. The ATF's win here is going to embolden them to make more and more rules and regulations that are often contradictory and will rarely make sense. Hey, well, that's all right, Squatch. I was late, so, don't worry about it. Where was I? Yes. Sooner or later, they're going to do exactly the thing that I predicted back in the 1996, I think it was, which is little by little change the regulations until eventually they have a de facto ban. They can't get a de facto, repeal of the Second Amendment. They can't get a de jure one. But let me rephrase that. It would be extraordinarily difficult to get a de jure repeal of the Second Amendment, but they can get it whittled down to the point where it no longer effectively exists. Think I'm joking? The ultimate reference point is assault weapon. Now, I have my definition of assault weapon, be that as it may. The anti-gun crowd has their own definition of assault weapon, and they keep changing it. I remember the 94 ban defined it as detachable magazine, self-loading, and two of this list of features. Any two. The latest one, that was 2014, I believe, reduced it to one feature. Already you can see they're shifting the goalposts just a little bit. And they're going to keep shifting it. They'll ban the self-loaders entirely. And then they'll change the definition to reloadable or something like that. They'll get pump action, bolt action, lever action, and what's the other one that I'm forgetting? No, I think that's it, actually. Oh, well, we'll stop there for a moment. Get those defined as assault weapons. Probably a military use language. And then they'll get revolvers banned because it's a rapid firing. Then they'll change the definition of rapid firing to more than one per minute. Civil War, during the American Civil War, an infantryman was expected to be able to fire 3 aimed shots per minute. Most people don't realize this, but the British Army of the roughly same period was expected to get about 5 to 6 shots off. During the Revolutionary period, it was 6 shots. We have the 3-shot standard because we do require the aiming. The British have the 6-shot standard for the same time frame because they didn't require aiming. It wasn't part of the part of their requirement. Hey, Bernie, it's bad news. That's what's going on. All right. British didn't require aiming. It was ready, present, fire, not ready, aim, fire. A little bit of a difference there for those of you that care about that sort of thing. I do, so I'll tell you. But in any case, 3 shots per minute is more than 1 round per minute, isn't it? And that's what they'll eventually go to use as the definition. More than 1 round per minute. Flag on the play. They might go into this more than 3 rounds per minute, because clearly that's musketry. And then some jerk off will pull off a 5 round per minute unaimed firing, probably with a carbine at that, because it's quicker and easier to load, and be able to say, see, muskets are more than 3 rounds per minute too. Well, I guess we ban all the muskets. Yeah. Meanwhile, these groups that are taking your money and not even giving you the time of day, yeah, I said that again, will keep taking your money and accomplish absolutely nothing. All right, that's the truth. They're still not going to accomplish anything, no matter how many ways and times you fight them. Because at the end of the day, they do have one grave disadvantage that the ATF has in absolute abundance, and that's your money. Right? The federal government does not have a money problem. They can always spend more, and if they have to deficit spend, by goddamn they will. They will deficit spend into the 6-digit, 8-digit, 12-digit figure. They don't care. It's not actually their money, is it? Excuse me. Let me tell you just how real deficit spend is, right? Any given group of 2 or more people in a government employment status is given a budget. They're told, this is how much money you have to work for this year, right? Use it. At the end of the year, any of that money that they don't spend will be taken. First of all, it's taken back. They have 5 cents left over. 5 cents is automatically deducted from their account. And the next year, as they're discussing the budget, they're going to be reminded, wait a minute, you told us you needed 5 cents last year that you didn't spend. So no, you're not getting those 5 cents. So they're actually down now 10 cents. The 5 that was taken, plus the next 5 that they didn't get. Versus if they go ahead and figure out a way to spend those 5 cents on some frivolity. Papa Carey's got a great story for that. I should invite him back to talk about that. I should ask him. Well, I should ask him about coming back for that. In any case, just spend it on some frivolity. And it has to be a provably useful frivolity, like pads of paper or something. Or they're not going to get that money back next year. And if they go over their budget, they're rewarded. Oh, you went 25 cents over budget because literally the last day of the budget, you went out and bought a 30-cent pad of paper, 3x5 paper, the notepads. Okay, you're going to get an extra 25 cents this year. In 2003, when I was still a seaman, our XPO, the BM2, excuse me, I apologize. BM1 called everybody in and said, we are something like $10,000 short of our budget this year. I'm not giving the money back. You got something in your head. Give it to me. I'll approve it. Well, what I got approved was my brown sheet. Everything else, don't give a shit about. I filled out a brown sheet for 4 toilet plungers. I think they were $20 a piece. About $20 a piece. These were those really powerful accordion style ones that can just blow a fucking brick through your toilet, right? The ones we had were old. They were fucking rubber cap type that can't even get piss to go down the drain, right? Terrible, terrible. So I put in a brown sheet for no. It wasn't 4. It was 2, 4, 6, 7. It must have been 7 plungers. Now, for whatever reason, the BM1 only approved 3. Okay. All right, BM1, that was your decision. I don't care. I got a brown sheet signed off. And the station spent something like $100 total getting them. Now, what happened? Well, what really happened was that 2 years earlier, when they had written the budget, that's part of the way that every budget is. You're not writing this year's budget. You're writing the budget for 2 years from now. 2 years ago, as they were writing this budget, they expected fuel prices to rise by about 75 cents per, was it barrel or gallon? It must have been per barrel, which is 50 gallons, by the way. Okay, great, fine. Now that's what we're expecting because that was what the historic precedent had said. Lo and behold, gas prices actually came down about 10 cents per barrel. We didn't see that coming. We really didn't see that coming, right? The prices go down. What? So they had given us 65 cents per barrel of money that we just couldn't use now. Bernie, you're out there. Can you give me an idea of how many gallons that 65% difference is? Because that will tell you about how many gallons we used per year. Remember, the barrel is 50 gallons. And it's 65 cents per barrel difference. We couldn't order more fuel in that much time because that would actually affect the next year's budget. We'd have this fuel left over that we'd have to burn first. And that means we couldn't be burning the new fuel that we had budgeted for about a year and 9 months ago. See how this is becoming a repetitive problem now. Flag on the play. I'm going to tell Dad's story as best as I can. And someday when he's here to defend himself, he can tell the story so much better than I ever could. But at any rate, he was assigned to a hospital ship at the time, I believe. No. It was a hospital. Excuse me. It's a landside hospital. They were all called together and they were told we need to burn through something like $50,000. Oh, great. Dad says we need okay, I'm going to say incubator. And I know that's not the right word. All right, but it's a machine for cooking culture samples so that you can get the culture sample out and see what the hell are we really dealing with here? Are we dealing with strep? Are we dealing with meningitis? Are we dealing with tuberculosis? What are we really dealing with here, right? That would have been like $20,000. This is 1970s money, by the way. $20,000 right there. He was told, no, you don't understand. We have to have it on board by close of business tomorrow. Go down to the exchange, buy pens, buy paper, pads of paper, buy anything office related stuff, and have it here before you go on liberty today. Oh yeah, by the way, at the same time, literally everybody at that naval base, I think it was I'm pretty sure it was Rosie Roads Naval Station. Everybody was in the same boat. So everybody was down at the exchange buying pens and paper and desk chairs and anything else that they could to burn through their 50,000, 100,000, 30,000, 5,000, whatever their budget difference was. They would rather have deficit spent to twice that amount than come up short. And this is how the entire governmental system works. It's not just the feds, it's the states, it's the counties, it's the cities too. They're all punished that way. If you come up under budget, you're punished for it. Any other industry, you come up under budget, you're rewarded for it, not the government. All right. I literally do not understand this thinking at all. All right. But that's the way it is. At any rate, the ATF is a government agency. They can deficit spend, a federal agency, by the way. They can deficit spend like you wouldn't believe. They don't have to care. And if they have to hire on 20 extra attorneys at $100 per man hour, full and a half time, 60 hours a week, it's not a problem. All right, that's $6,000 a piece. $240,000 just to sit in a courtroom for a half an hour. That's not even a problem. They are already $2.5 million over budget. What's another $250,000? Why do we care? They can literally spin their enemies into oblivion. They already tried that, literally doing that with the NRA. All right. When Moms Demand Blood Money wanted to destroy the NRA, they sicked the feds on them on some sort of false claims in advertising. Basically, the NRA said, hey, we're offering firearms liability insurance. Give us $50 a month and we'll cover you up to $1 million in liability. That was great. And then Moms Demand sicked the feds on them saying, no, that's false claim and we want them out of business. So the feds literally spent the NRA not just into oblivion for their insurance policy, but also for the company as a whole. The whole of the organization was forced to move from New York to Texas and reincorporate because they couldn't do business in New York at all. I know everybody talks about the New York State suit, the New York State case. And that's true. But they had it investigated by the feds. That's the part most people don't realize. The feds were actually involved in that. An organization that the federal government itself paid to have brought into existence back in the 1970s, I believe it was. They're now paying a bloody fucking fortune of taxpayer money to have obliterated. All right, so what's next? Well, as they slowly and steadily destroy every last vestige of the effective use of the Second Amendment, we all talk about Heller, right? As if it was God's gift to man. And to be perfectly blunt, it was a big one, but it's not the end all be all. There will always be another battle they can fight, right? They lost Heller. Okay, fine. We will win the battle another way. We will get it more and more narrowly defined. Right now, they're fighting this battle in New York about Times Square being a protected space or a special space, something like some stupid shit like that, because it's a major tourist point of reference. If nothing else, it's a tourist point of reference. There's a lot of people there that if they even look at a photograph of a gun back home, they go to prison. I'm talking about people from China, especially. If you're from China and you look at a photograph of a gun, they might put you in prison for it. And yes, that has actually happened. So don't give me some shit about, no, that's crazy talk, Carrie. They beheaded 3 men to cover up the fact that somebody took bribes that allowed pirates to operate out of what the hell port was that? You know what? I can't remember the name of the port off the top of my head. But at any rate, they beheaded them with basically no trial. There was a hearing, what in the United States would be called a probable cause hearing, and that's it. That's all the more trial they got. The probable cause hearing showed that, yes, they should have, bare minimum, they should have known that something was going on, so they're guilty. Yeah. Like I said, cover it up. All right. That's how strict it is there, right? Times Square is now a protected place. They don't actually have to win that Times Square battle per se. They can always fight that next battle after it because they can always spend more money. How do we stop them from spending all that money? Well, first and foremost, we have to make it so that there's no battle they can fight. I wonder, can anybody give me an idea of something that might make that happen? All right. Sorry, guys. I got to do something real quick. I'm getting not a whole lot of feedback, and I know Bernie's out there. So, okay, that was the wrong button to tap, wasn't it? I got to make sure I'm actually streaming, guys. I make sure I'm okay. All right, I am actually live. Good. All right. So, what's a way to make that happen? Well, you know what? Here's an interesting thought. If it was no longer a right, hey TJ, hi. I'm going to be talking about you later. If there was no longer a right to keep and bear arms, but a duty. Yes, I said duty, David. Please grow up. To keep and bear arms? Would that destroy the intents of those who want to repeal the Second Amendment. Well, I tell you what, it'd be really fucking hard for them to get over that one, to get past that one, wouldn't it? Bernie, Squatch, if you're still listening, DJ said hi. All right. Hold up, folks. I am going to read it verbatim because that's the way I spurg. Matter of fact, if I can... There we go. Yeah, I'm not going to be able to do that this time, but... All right, let me make sure everything's still aligned properly. Hey, Luke, you made it. I was beginning to worry about you a little bit, bud. Squatch says he's editing really stupid. I think he meant I'm really editing stupid to me. But, you know, I could be wrong. All right. Had the founders foreseen the future, they would have written a very different Second Amendment. A well-protected public being necessary to the security of a free state, the duty of the people to keep and bear arms shall be enforced. By the way, if you ever do see this Big Dig Energy, it's okay. It's okay. I haven't memorized it either. All right. I'm not holding you to that standard, lady. Well, shit, that sucks. Everybody, give a little prayer for Luke. He got injured at work. I swear, Luke, I will do that after the stream and maybe after I take care of something else related to the stream. Sorry, guys. There are some things going on. All right. Yes, they would have actually fucking written that. They would have. Benjamin Franklin actually said, the ability of evil men to corrupt simple words. Marveled at the ability of evil men to corrupt simple language. Yeah. Any one of you that wants to go out there and try to find the exact quote, oh, please do. Okay. Try and piss me off by correcting the quote for me, because I will fucking highlight the shit out of you. All right. I swear to God, every time I have to discuss that part, I will include the proper quote and then give you a little bit of a shout out as a thank you. Oh, fuck me. Sorry, guys. I have to put my banner up. I only have one, but it's a very important one. It says, tell me to go fuck myself, and gives you my email address. By the way, that's not a joke. Go ahead and tell me to go fuck myself. I don't care. It doesn't bother me. There's another David out there who is absolutely fucking insanely confused, I guess, by the fact that I only have 100 and generously, I'll say 150 followers on Facebook specifically. And a lot of them are pages that only follow me out of morbid curiosity or hate follow. He thinks this bothers me, and he can't comprehend the fact that I don't give a fuck how few or many I have. All right, I could have 2, I'd be just as happy. I could literally have 1 follower, me personally, Jay personally, I'd still be happy because at least then I know I'm still telling the truth. Nobody wants to hear it. That's not my problem. It doesn't bother me in the least. But moving right along, I do gotta keep on topic because I hate it when people do go off topic like that. Yes, I know that's hypocritical. The surest way to move forward is to actually, as it was simply put back in 2014 when this whole thing started, to repeal and replace the Second Amendment with something that is actually durable. Little history of mandatory carry. Oh, Jesus. As late as 2013, I was ambivalent about the subject of the Second Amendment. All right. I wasn't ambivalent. I was indifferent because all attempts to repeal the Second Amendment had basically failed. Right? Oh, excuse me. Now here comes the new assault weapons ban by senator from New York. What the hell was her name? McCarthy. Senator McCarthy. A little bit of her personal history is her husband was killed and her son was permanently disabled in the New York subway shooting from 96, I think it was. National headlines for weeks afterwards. Well, I'll get around to talking about that someday too. Bernie, you're here every single time. I'm going to hold you to it. Hold me to that when I talk about the effects of media. It's not part of mandatory carry yet. It should be. It may very well be. So, Bernie, remind me of that when I get there. Moving right along. Along comes the 2014 assault weapons ban. This is the one that went from 2 options to 1 option, right? That first big step forward. The one that made me realize, hey, wait a second, they're moving the goalposts. Made me realize, hey, they're changing their story. Something here smells, right? So I went onto Facebook and I went looking for repeal the Second Amendment. I had one that said repeal and replace the Second Amendment. On the page that said that. So I just posted this. Okay, make your case for this repeal. And the only answer I ever really got was to be accused of boilerplate NRA boilerplate horse shit. Excuse me, bitch. Definitely a feminine writer's voice. I'm telling you guys, this was a woman. Because the next comment by the page had more of a men's writer's voice. Now, it could have been the same person both times. That's unlikely. Moving right along, though. Excuse me, bitch. I have never been part of the NRA. I don't even like the NRA. Right? I tolerate them as a fact of the universe and nothing more. You know, like the KKK and Antifa. Honestly, I can't tell the two apart. They both wear masks and they're both racists. Oh, and they both want to repeal the 13th Amendment. Just saying. But at any rate, that was the answer I was given. And now we have no mandates. Gavin Newsom talking about a 26th Amendment. Now, I know the first time around this is going to fail. Crash and burn like the Hindenburg. All right. But it's going to come back and come back and come back over and over again. They just have to keep fighting. For those of you that remember last week's premiere, my interview with Papa Carey, his story about the Kit Carson scout who's interpreting the captured NBA soldier, saying they show us the American news media and TV. So we watch and they tell us all we have to do is keep fighting, and sooner or later, the Americans will go away. Yeah, that's all they have to do is just keep fighting and keep fighting and keep fighting. For those of you that didn't check out that premiere, which I didn't see any comments, so I don't know if any of you did. Actually, that's not true. Swiss Miss saw it. And I think Macy Van Dusen commented on it. I cannot emphasize enough. Please go watch that. All right. That Kit Carson scout story is absolutely everything you need to know about the left's plan. Just keep fighting and keep fighting and keep fighting. And they can lose each and every time. They only have to win once. That's how Sparta beat Athens, I think it was. I usually get the two backwards, so if you know the war on Peloponnesian, I think it was, war, and I got it backwards again, okay, just tell me, all right? Okay, calm down, Carrie. It's okay, Carrie. The most important thing we can do is to create a situation where they can never tear it down under any circumstances, because it's literally the law. Not a law that they can circumvent every time they think of a new way to word an old thing. You know, there's a gun manufacturer from my old hometown. Holy shit, a gun maker in my old hometown, right? They make a gun that is California compliant. I talked to them on the phone once, and they said they did not want to hear the word circumvent in the interview. They did not want to use that word. And I'm sitting there thinking, why the fuck would I say that? All you did was build this gun in compliance with California law. That's it. They didn't circumvent anything, right? They were afraid that I might go there. Well, okay. Their fears were misplaced. They didn't circumvent anything. They designed their product to be in compliance with California law. It's the state of California that circumvented the law when they wrote it the way they did. They absolutely flagrantly ignored federal law, and they violated the 10th Amendment in the process. You know what? You're right. I'm going to read that one verbatim, because I probably should. Absolutely, you're right. 10th Amendment text, not definition, not simplified. The powers not delegated to the United States by the Constitution. Second Amendment is specifically delegated to the United States by the Constitution, nor prohibited by it to the states. Okay, we'll come back to that. Are reserved to the states, respectively, or the people. Are reserved to means only the state can do this, or only the people can do that. Right? Power is not delegated to the United States by the Constitution. Second Amendment, it specifically delegates that subject to the feds. This is, this is simple. Actually, it sort of doesn't. That actually delegates it to the people, but I'll come back to that in more detail later. Nor prohibited by it to the states. As far as I can tell, there's nothing in the Constitution, or in the amendments rather, that actually says only the state has this. All right. There's a couple of things in the Constitution that does delegate certain powers to the states, like how they're going to write their election laws. Yeah, okay, fine. This specifically delegates that power strictly to the feds or to the people, depending on how you want to look at that one. All right. And cuts the states out completely. The states actually don't have a authority, to write any kind of gun laws. The only thing they still hold is the authority. God fucking damn it. I keep using the R word. Authority to write, say, their self-defense laws, their murder laws, their concealed carry laws. All right. Because that's not actually written into the Constitution specifically. The right to keep and bear arms is. The authority to define murder is not. All right. So there you go. Moving right along. Where was I going with that little rant? Right. So they want to now repeal the Second Amendment using this. Hey, Wasp, you're a little on the late side, but that's okay. So was I. The states want to circumvent the Second Amendment. The states want to circumvent the federal law. And here's this gun maker in California, of all places. Can you believe that shit? Gun maker in California. That has to design their product so that it's in compliance with state law that's illegal. It violates the federal law. I mean, and this is the kind of thing we have to fight uphill one way and down the other. Now, if we had a way of forever enshrining that, no, actually, it's not a right anymore. It's a duty that you have a vague right to get out of. That would be a much fucking bigger battle for them to try to fight, wouldn't it? There's only one problem with that. The very same people who say they're fighting these battles do not return messages, do not even, there's one in particular. I'm not going to name the name. Those of you that see me backstage or on Discord or whatever, you've heard the name. 2017, I sent them, 2017 and 18, excuse me. I sent them 3 snail mails, half dozen emails, and I even fucking called them and got nothing but the runaround because there wasn't a check in the snail mails. The emails went straight to the spam folder, and the guy on the phone, he was just there to collect a paycheck, and that's it. He was literally just there to take the message and throw it away. All right, I'm sorry. Screen phone calls. That phone call, by the way, was 2019. I know it was that year because the week before or after, I can't remember which, was the Argentina coup or civil war or whatever the hell it was that was all over Timcast for about a week or maybe a couple weeks. And then they went away. That whole thing went away, and nobody fucking knows what the hell happened. Correction, I don't fucking know what the hell happened. Maybe one of you does. Great, good for you. Sorry, I kind of don't care anymore. Okay. The only way to get past this, to write it, to go back and rewrite it in a way that they can never, ever tear it down. And yes, Mr. Franklin, we are going to have to write it in such a way that men of evil intent cannot corrupt the plain language. All right. Warsaw Patriot says Ninth Circuit of California struck down their own state law as well and now are having another hearing on it soon. Okay. The Ninth Circuit is not a state court. That's federal. So saying it's their own state law, no. They're a federal court. All right, I understand what you meant, bud, but no, it's federal law, or it's a federal court, and are having another hearing on it soon. Okay, I do know that Ninth Circuit has been very, very odd of late. For lack of a better word, if you get a panel at Ninth Circuit, are you basically going to get a pro Second Amendment court? But if you get a single judge, you're going to have an anti Second Amendment court. And even that on the latter is not really written in stone, but as generality, yeah, the former, okay, it's not written in stone, but it's carved in wood. It is definitely not going anywhere anytime soon. You've really got to make your case for an anti-Second Amendment law in Ninth Circuit's jurisdiction. There was one. It was covered by Runkle of the Bailey, actually. They had a hearing about a month or so ago, I think it was, about advertising. As far as I can tell, that court did not issue an opinion right away, but it was pretty obvious what direction this one was going. There was, actually, it was more than just obvious. The attorney or the advocate for state of California, oh my God. That was as close to a contempt moment as I've ever actually seen in a courtroom. Yeah, she really pissed them off. Like, she took a big old fucking shit in their Cheerios and they were not going to eat it. If I didn't know better, I'd swear to fucking God she did it deliberately so that they rule against her. Like, and the worst part is, the complaining party, the news magazine, which was going to lose millions of dollars, their advocate actually did a bad job. When she sat down, I thought there's no way they're going to win this case. And then the state's advocate stood up and, oh my God, did you just fucking say that, bitch? But anyway. Oh, sorry, guys. There is a situation going on that I'm trying to get a handle on. Okay. Sorry. I gotta take my glasses off for a minute. Because my prescription is 2 years old, I found out this week. And I can't afford another optometry appointment. Yeah, optometry appointment. Not yet, anyway. So moving on. The best and really only way forward is to have a condition wherein they can never tear it down under any circumstances. It's done. It's over, right? Mom's demand, go home. You're out of business. You're done. They'll never actually be out of business. And this is the beauty part, all right? Mom's demand does not want the Second Amendment repealed. They really don't, because that's their fucking gravy train. As long as there's the threat of loaded, concealed handguns in the public's hands, they can always get some fucking moron to give them $20, $60, $100, a life savings. They're worse than not Jerry Falwell. Squatch, I know I'm asking you to break away from editing for a second, but what was that mega church couple that they went down for embezzlement in the 80s? I think it wasn't Jerry Falwell. It's the guy he replaced. And his wife, Tammy Faye. I don't think Tammy went to prison. I think only he did. Anyway. Okay. Hold up, guys. Wasp says, I call BS. Moms demand action and others want total gun control. Everything owned to the state. Okay, that's partially true. And I'll fight all of you over that. Everything owned by the state, that's absolutely fucking true. All right? And if that day came, okay, fine. Repeal the Second Amendment, they don't care. They're happy to be state-owned slaves. But until that happens, they really, really don't want the Second Amendment to go away, because that's their gravy train. People will give them money to fight that battle. All right? If the Second Amendment were to go away, they wouldn't have anything to fight. They'd be out of business. All right? The Antichrist that they've spent their entire career fighting has gone away. My God, what do we do? Our whole reason for living is gone now. We won. Beware, warrior born, the price of total victory. Okay, I know I got the quote wrong. And it's an ancient Nordic saying, so I probably couldn't have gotten it right to begin with. But that's the point is, if they win, they have nothing to fight. Nobody will give them money to do literally nothing. You won your battle. What do you need more money for? Versus NRA or somebody else. Their battle actually would never really end, because as long as there is anything like a Second Amendment, there will be somebody trying to tear it down, trying very, very hard. That's the reason why I wrote Dadislav as carefully as I could to address every possible question that could come up. Now, every once in a while, I get a new question, and that's awesome. I love when I get a new question, because this is something I really hadn't thought of. Basically, all of the exemptions were brought by a question, asked by Papa Carey and Fixed Bayonets, right? So all of those exemptions came as a result of them, except violent political protesters, unsafe working conditions, which is conditional, and under elective exemption, the ability basically just to pay your way out of doing it. But that, and it is what it is. There was a couple others. Goddamn. Papa Carey asked a couple really complex and difficult ones. And for the life of me, I cannot remember what they are right now. But he hit me with some pretty hard ones. Folks, if you have any questions about revising the Second Amendment in such a way that nobody could ever tear it down, please, by all means, ask them. That's why I do this. I don't want you to kiss my ass. I want you to kick me in the balls. You may not like it. I might fight you on it. But I do want you to legitimately kick me in the balls. Carnal conservative and regular guy guns. Yeah, regular guy guns. They both asked, why don't you support repealing the NFA? They did phrase it very differently from that, but they both asked that question, and I like to think I answered it. They didn't like the answer. That's okay. All right. I sleep very comfortably at night with the answer I gave. And by the way, yes, NFA is kind of repealed and kind of not under Dataslav, but talk about that later. Okay, I got to catch up on the chat because WASP is really going at it. WASP, look at Canada. They even passed a law up there now. You can no longer have social media up there. That's news to me. That is news to me. You can no longer have social media. By the way, folks, we don't fucking stand on spelling around here or grammar. I figured out what he meant. That's good enough. I was not aware of that. I'm going to have to look into that. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and pop that. Look back in places of history. If people vote people into power, they will even destroy rights of their own after they voted them in. Who do you think I'm referencing? Yeah, I know who you're referencing. And well, you know what? We love you, Susan. You cunt. Okay. Yes, I did it. All right. You knew it was coming, guys, so don't pretend. All right. Since it's kind of a bit of a tangent, I'm going to try to make it quick. YouTube 2 or 3 months ago changed the rules. You can now talk about motherfuckers. You can talk about motherfuckers and fucking drag strip queens. What was I saying? You can talk about election rigging now, and anybody that thinks the 2020 election was not rigged, fucking retarded, right? Yeah, there is no way that Trump got the most votes in the history of American politics, and then 4 years later, Joe turned around and beat his record. That didn't happen. There's only one way that happens, and that's you rig the fucking election. You rig it like a fucking windjammer. That's the most heavily rigged ships ever in history. They got more sails on the enough sails up in the rigging that you could literally patch up the entire hull and float home if you had to. But at any rate, all right. So if you think the 2020 election was free and fair, you're fucking lying to me. You don't believe it, but you're going to say it anyway. And yes, I am referring to what's going on in Georgia right now, because I can get away with saying that for a little while. and I will. As for what happened in Germany in the 1930s, the rise of the Nazis, I cannot look you all in the eye and say I know that there was election rigging in 1930s Germany. I can't do it. I don't know. I also cannot look you in the eye and say there's no chance of election rigging in 1930s Germany. I don't believe it. I just don't believe it. All right. Whether you, even if you don't count the brown shirts beating people in the streets as election rigging, I still wouldn't believe it. It wouldn't actually change anything. Oof. So it is what it is. All right. I think I've beaten those horses a little too long, and I think I've bored half of my audience. I should really get somebody in here to help me out with this shit. Okay. In short, folks, the only way to stop the next bad decision is to have a condition where they can't come to any other decision. Is that simple enough? No, it's not, because I keep having to say this every week. All right, moving on. I mean, I flag on the play, guys. I know most of the people who are watching live, and 99% of the people who are going to watch the reruns get this concept. The problem is, as Mr. David enjoyed pointing out so much, I only have around 150 subscribers on YouTube and another 150 followers on Facebook, and I think I have like 40 on Instagram. Not a lot. All right, Luke. Eat carefully, bro. And hey, try and stick your nose in a little more often, please. I kind of worry when I don't hear from you guys. I know. It's just Carrie Spurgeon, but please don't make me Spurg. Moving on. All right, next subject. And DJ, especially, I really want you to hear this. Not every situation requires lethal force. All right. That's why you should carry more than just a handgun. Now, I am nefarious. What's the word I want here? For my obsession with brass knuckles. Well, yeah. I mean, I can kill you with brass knuckles. It's not as easy as it sounds. I can do it. I can cause you grievous bodily injury. I can really fuck your shit up. Right? I only wear them at night when I'm asleep, because and you've all heard the legends and the stories about soldiers sleeping with knives in their hands. Well, first of all, some of those stories are true. All right. Not all of them, but some of those stories are true. So they are based on a real thing. But when you sleep with a knife in your hand, if you start jerking, you have a nightmare, anything, you could actually stab yourself. When I was homeless, I realized that, that's a legitimate danger. I don't want to sleep with a knife in my hand. I also didn't want to sleep with a gun in my hand. I had it at arm's reach, but I didn't want to sleep with it in my hand. Then one day I was in a gas station in Salem, Oregon, and they're selling folding trench knives. Now, brass knuckles are illegal in Oregon. Trench knives are not. Oh, okay. This totally different thing, right? Well, no, when you fold them up, they're still brass knuckles. Now I have a pair of brass knuckles, and I learned to sleep with them on at night. It took me a while, and after a little bit more time, I figured out a way to wrap a band around my wrist, bridle to the brass knuckles, well, to the trench knife, and that would hold them on no matter how bad it got. And if I started jerking around it, I'd having a nightmare or something else. Yeah, okay, so I hit myself and I wake myself up. Big deal. I'm miserable. That's it. I was miserable anyway, so it's not like that was going to change anything. Also, brass knuckles are automatically no more than reach. So if I can hit you with my brass knuckles, why are you that close to me? Who are you and why are you that close to me if I can hit you with my brass knuckles? But that's not the only option, is there? Some situations, a gun will only make it worse, right? Because now you brought the gun out, you mean to kill somebody, or at least that's what they believe. Versus if you have pepper spray or mace or some other less lethal option, you can make it real clear to them that, yeah, it's time to go, right? Flag on the play. I was at a bar in old Sacramento. And this guy came around. He had no business being there that night. He'd been thrown out earlier in the evening, right? I was like 5 feet away with my back to him the first time he got told it's, well, correction. I was walking past the first time he got told it was time to go. I thought it was just a couple bar flies getting ready to get start throwing, right? I'm like, I'm not seeing this. I'm not seeing this. This isn't happening, right? God, I hope this thing is over because I did not want the drama and I did not want to talk to cops. All right, I just wanted to go to the bar and have a good night. When I got back, one of them was gone and the other barfly was still there. Well, it turns out the other barfly was a bouncer from another bar halfway down the block. Oh, okay. This guy had come in earlier and he caused trouble with some girls that were there. I remember I'm hearing this guy's story and I'm thinking, if this guy comes back, because I had the pepper spray in my pocket, this guy comes back, I'm spraying him. If this guy comes back, I'm spraying him, and all of a sudden, Robert, that was his name, by the way, popped up like a piece of toast, said, "No, you're out of here." And I very slowly turned around because my back was to the door because the bouncer was sitting where he could watch the door, right? He's being a good employee, right? Very slowly turned around and holy shit, yep, he's back all right. This bar's bouncer came bounding out of the back. Robert went chasing up to the door. They're all squared off. I see dumb motherfucker who started the trouble earlier. I'm telling you, what I saw was him shrug his shoulders. That could have been interpreted because I was standing behind the two bartenders. I couldn't actually see everything. One of them told the cops later that the guy pulled a knife. I could not have seen the knife, right? I'm standing in a position where my view of his hands were blocked. But I did see him shrug his shoulders. That was it. The next thing anybody knew, the whole fucking world exploded. Robert saw something come past his hand, or past his face. The Matt said these guys start blinking and shifting around. The buddy who'd been trying to get him to go starts screaming, and this guy starts wiggling around just wiggling around. That's all I can say. Because some dumbass had pepper sprayed him so hard that a half can of pepper spray went away. Okay, it was one of the small cans. But it was a whole half can. The buddy got a little bit. Some old lady walking by got some of it. He got most of it. I mean, it went right in his eyes. I saw the stream go into one of his eyes. He got it. He got that right where it hurt. Now let's change the scenario a little bit. Let's say I'd walked in and all I had was the gun. Rules be damned, right? Now I pull out the gun. This guy hasn't actually hurt anybody yet that I saw. He's threatening people, but he hasn't hurt anybody yet that I saw. The knife, I never saw the damn knife. All right? I couldn't have seen it. Whether it was there or not doesn't matter. But it was obvious to me this guy meant to start, not to end, not to anything else. He was only here to fight Robert. He was literally only here to fight Robert. Remember, the bartender, the bouncer rather, from the other bar, because basically it's all one big business down there, right? Yes, this department and that, this department is motherfucker. This department is O'Malley's, and that department is Wilhelmina's, and this other department is sports bar. I can't remember the name now. And that other department is Carl's Jr. But it really is all one business, and they all back each other up 100%. And this guy was starting to fight with the bartender, the bartender and the patrons and bouncer, and he was only here to fight the bouncer. Hey, Sapient. G'day, mate. By the way, folks, that means Sapient is up way past his sleepy time. So say thank you, or hello, or good day, or whatever. Say something. Here he is. He's here only to start a fucking fight. That's it. That's the only fucking reason for him to be there. If I'd pulled out a gun, having not seen the knife that may or may not have been there, and I shot him, especially considering the circumstances surrounding it, who would have been right and who would have been wrong? Well, I'll tell you one thing. I wouldn't be here. He wouldn't be here either, but I wouldn't be here. All right. By the way, I was not drunk. I'd had like 3 sips of my first beer because I was too busy talking to Robert to actually drink. I know, talking to people at the bar. Me talking to people in general. Sorry, folks. For those of you that know me in real life, me talking to people. Like, where is Carrie and what have you done with him? And we're still talking to people at the bar. I don't talk to people at the bar. I drink at the bar, right? It's not my best quality. I'm working on it. No, I'm not. I'll tell you that because it makes some people happy. Either way, he was only here to start a fight. Because I never did see the knife. I never did see it. I heard something a little while later that could have been him dropping a knife. I don't know. I would have shot and killed him and absolutely fucking murdered him. Well, absolutely fucking killed him. Bare minimum, I would have killed him. Problem is, I also probably would have killed the little old lady who was walking past, right? True and through, yes, under Datislav, that's not relevant anymore. All right? It's an unforeseeable and undesirable effect. And I mean, it's an actual written section, so I'd have been covered under the Datislav Act, under the 26th Amendment. not under California law in 2000. Motherfucker. I think it was 2008. It was right around there. All right. I'm pretty sure it was, well, I know it was before the PSU, but after A school. That was 2005 or 2009 and 2005 respectively. Okay, so anyway, say good morning to Staping Underground, guys. He's up early. I am absolutely fucking comfortable with my actions that night. And while I may feel a little bit bad for the little old lady, I do. I'm not the one that came there with the intention of violence. I'm not the one who was walking down the boardwalk, apparently oblivious to fucking everything in the universe, including the fight that's about to break out in front of a bar. All right. I can't really hold that against her too much, because it seemed the exact same thing. I'd done the exact same thing earlier, but I also wouldn't have held it against Robert if I'd gotten sprayed as I was going by the first time, because hey, shit does happen. So why should you consider a less than lethal option? Because sometimes it doesn't, it's the wrong, worst possible option. I also want to throw something else out there. There's a misunderstanding about that term, less than lethal. All right. It doesn't mean it's not a gun. If it's a tool that can cause permanent injury, then yeah, that's a lethal option. I know some people, fuck you, Wikipedia. You lying, cocksucking, fucking pieces of shit. No, Carrie, tell us what you really think, right? Wikipedia likes to define baton as a non-lethal or less than lethal or whatever. No, you can fucking beat somebody to death with one of those things. That's the whole crux of the Rodney King riots. They tried to beat him to death. Flag on the plate. Except if you actually go back and watch the evidence, no, they weren't trying to beat him to death. They were trying to beat him down. They weren't trying to beat him to death. Right? And by the way, if you hit somebody with a 2x4, can you beat them to death with that? I'm just saying. Yes, stick good. Metal stick better. All right. I mean, Shad got that one right. Oh, right. Can cause grievous bodily injury, permanent injury, or death. That is a lethal weapon. Doesn't mean just guns. So please, for God's sakes, consider something that is not necessarily lethal. Pepper spray is my personal favorite. Brass knuckles are a high end of that. Yes, I know I can beat you to death with brass knuckles. I'm not that stupid. I also know that if I hit you with my brass knuckles once, this thing is probably going to end pretty quickly after that. Because if you're in a position for me to do that, you knew you were wrong already. I've only had to test that theory once, and that guy didn't stay around long enough to find out. He fucked around. He found out enough already. It's time to go. Oh. By the way, I want to emphasize something. Nothing in Dataslav says you must carry a less than lethal. It is literally not written for that reason. Right? There are times when only a lethal option will work. I've seen those times. Dumb motherfucker actually did pull a knife. The cop pulled a gun. Right. Yeah, dumb motherfucker pulled a knife. Of course, the cop pulled a gun. That was the only way that this was going to end any other way. And that stupid, drunk, fucking dumb shit. I'm trying to watch my F words, folks. That's not the F word I wanted to use. It's lucky the cop didn't pull the trigger because he would have been completely justified. Like at every single level, I saw that. I did see that knife. The one guy who's trying to help you, you pull a fucking knife on him. You dumb. All right, moving on. Okay, I think that was everything that pissed me off this week. So, I know everybody's going to hate this next part. Right? If you don't hate this next part, you may not be paying very close attention. We're going to stop the screen so I can bring up share screen. Window. God damn it. Let's try that again. Yes, I know StreamYard is sharing a window. Shut the fuck up. All right. Title 5, Penalties, Section 4. Any person who willfully ignores any part of this act may be, upon first violation, fined not more than $100. Upon second and subsequent violations, $500. Okay. First time, really is a warning. Don't do this again. All right? Just don't do it again. Second and subsequent violations, $500. No, fucking for real. All right? You were warned once already. Fuck you. Upon fourth and subsequent violations, incarcerated not more than 23 months and 28 days and $1,000 fine. Yeah, seriously, fuck you. All right? You're just absolutely flagrantly ignoring it now. There's an option. If you're really this kind of person that you're not going to do it, there's an option. Use it. This includes failure to carry as required, carrying as prohibited, and use of terminology contrary to this act by anyone in a professional capacity. Okay, a felon, right, who's carrying a gun, even though his thing says, yeah, you know, okay, the judge, okay, right, sure, I'll give you your mandatory carry duties back, but I'm only going to let you have pepper spray. Or somebody like me who's a little too loose with the pepper spray, a little too generous with that shit, right? I want to season the entire world. I want to spice up the entire fucking world. Judge says, you know what, Mr. Carey? No, you're not going to be carrying pepper spray anymore, right? You just sprayed the guy that was causing the problem, his buddy, the little old lady. Oh, by the way, did I mention the fact that the two bouncers caught a little bit of it, and I caught a little bit of it. And it was so bad that when the cops finally came, they did not want to put the buddy who'd gotten a pretty good dose of it too, not like the little old lady had gotten her hair or something. I don't know. She was able to walk away on her own. The buddy who caught a pretty good dose of it, they didn't want to put him in his car. Yeah. All right. So the judge says, no, Mr. Carey, you're not carrying pepper spray anymore. I am specifically prohibiting you from carrying pepper spray anymore. Okay. Fine. I decide to go ahead and carry pepper spray anyway. The first time, it'll be a fine of $100. Subsequent violations, $500. The fourth time I do it, I may be sitting in county jail for basically a couple of years. At 23 months, 28 days, $1,000 fine. That is actually set to one less than a felony. And that is exactly where I set that. Make it just under that felony limit. And use of terminology contrary to this act. That is calling something an assault weapon, even though it is not. All right, so about, oh shit, early 2020. No. Maybe it was late 2019. Yeah, it was late 2019. There was a shooting at a major local employer just outside of Red Bluff, California. That's all the more information I'm going to give you at this point. The guy walked in with an SKS. If you know the SKS, you know that 99% of them, are fixed magazine semi-automatic. Has neither of the qualities of an assault weapon. It is neither automatic or burst, at very least, nor is it detachable by magazine fed. It's a fixed magazine, right? Now, there are detachable magazine, SKSs. That is a thing. Okay, fine. Yeah, I don't bullshit me, right? We all know that this was a standard SKS, and that's the end of it. Probably didn't even have a bayonet lug anymore. It's probably cut off because this was California, and that's illegal. That's not in Dataslav, by the way. It's bayonet lug or no. The question's never even brought up. There's a reason it's not brought up. Okay. A local DJ referred to that as an assault rifle. Not assault weapon. He didn't say assault weapon. He said assault rifle. That guy would have been facing a $100 fine just for that one time. Okay. Failure to carry at the discretion of a court may be waived upon a payment of $10 fine, not more than 3 times. Okay. I know for a fact there's going to be a judge that will say, if you did not appear before me 3 times, it's waived each and every time. There are judges out there who don't care about the law. It's that simple. And there's judges out there who maybe have a reason why they're just going to let everybody walk every time they can, at least on this subject. They don't like this law. All right? Okay, fine. There's also going to be judges out there that they're sitting up on that bench and they see a judge 15 states away 8 years ago gave you a walk on a $10 fine. Okay. And a judge in Washington state or 3 states away gave you a walk 5 years ago. And a judge way the hell on the other side of the country gave you a walk a year ago. Says, wait a minute, you've already gotten your 3 walks, $100 fine, that's it. When you could prove that, yes, you know what, you just walked out of the house that morning, those 3 mornings, whatever, right? Okay. You know, that also sucks to be you. Right? This is to give judges at least some flexibility for proper justice in the universe. It doesn't mean you're not guilty, right? It just means, you know what? You were in a hurry getting out of the house that morning. You made a mistake. Just pay the $10 fee or fine and go away. All right. A judge who, upon probable cause, believes an exemption has been applied for under false pretenses may fine all involved parties not more than $2,000 and incarcerate them not more than 720 days, in addition to any fines and incarcerations for other underlying crimes. It includes perjury, people. So just don't do that. I am a chaplain, all right? And there's a couple of people that I've talked to that I get it. Let y'all in on a secret. Fixed bayonets is one of them. She was her people back in Afghanistan were Buddhists until the Taliban came along and forced them all to convert to Islam. Forced as in literally burned people alive. Forced. Yeah, that's the kind of people that Tefrin was. All right. You don't hear those stories out of mainstream media because it's, wrong kind of story. But anyway, I would absolutely, under those circumstances, be willing to sign her waiver. Mandatory carry, am a religious or spiritual advisor to fixed bayonets. And after a very, very long discussion, it is my belief that she is not capable of using deadly force, even in her own self-defense. Your Honor, I'm asking that she be exempt. That doesn't mean she's exempt of non-deadly force. It means deadly force. Maybe she is building towards ahimsa. No force, no self-defense. She'll take the beatings. Okay. Your Honor, it is legitimately my belief. It is my belief she is legitimately working towards ahimsa, which means not even the use of force to save her own life. By the way, Your Honor, I think she's a fucking idiot. That would be on my version. Now, of course, fixed bayonets is not anywhere near that anymore. Believe me, she's walked away from all of the above. But that's not the point. She's a great, really great example, right? If, on the other hand, that same judge has 5,000 exemption not depositions. It's when you swear something under oath on paper. God damn it, fucking word slipped my mind. One judge has 5,000 from the same person. Huh? How do I reach this guy? The number is 916-555-1212. Check that out on Google, and holy shit, that's the same number that this guy who's advertising mandatory carry exemptions seems to be associated with. Come to us for all your mandatory carry exemption needs. All 5,000 of these are under false pretenses, but I'm going to go one big step further because I'm the judge and I can do that. I'm going to have the bailiff go get the district attorney's office, and we're going to talk about investigating this guy a little bit further and find out he's charging $5,000 or $50, $5, 5 cents, whatever, for mandatory carry exemptions for conscientious objectorship. This also applies to third-party exemptions. If you apply for somebody's exemption because their mind isn't quite right, and the judge determines that no, you made that exemption under false pretenses, you lied to the court, perjury and contempt of court, judge might go there. I don't know. Now they got you for that as well. 2 years and the $2,000 fine. I know that needs a little bit of work because you can't felony out of mandatory carry, so I'm going to have to bring that down by the applicable amount, although that days looks right. One thing you can never do is felony out. You can never decide you're going to disobey this law until they find you guilty of a felony, and as of that moment forward, you're exempt. That's no. All right. Don't even try to play that shit with me. I saw it coming from a mile away. All right. I'm going to go back to this. Oh, DJ had to leave while I was deposition. Thank you. DJ had to leave while I was distracted with that other screen. All right, I'm gonna present. I'm gonna catch up on the chat. All right. Did I miss anything else? Yes, Bernie says all my vehicles are electric. Why? Checkbook has no limits on the Biden bank account. Bernie, how far back are you? I think Bernie's falling behind, guys. Okay. I really want to go over that one more time. First of all, $100 fine the first time, $500 a few times, just to try to really wake you up. Hey, dumbass, stop being stupid. And then fuck you. You really are just doing it. It's pissed us off. Fuck you too. All right. That DJ. Sorry, DJ. I know he's not here to hear it, but that radio DJ who called an SKS an assault rifle. Yeah, double fuck you. That was actually an intentional act of terrorism. He said assault rifle because he knew that people would fucking freak out when they heard those words. Why shouldn't he use the most powerful language he can? Try to scare people as much as possible. Well, now he won't be able to because he's up to $100 already. It's actually a lot more than that, but get to that later. If you file for an exemption, or if you're party to an exemption hearing under false pretenses, you fucked yourself in the ass sideways. Congratulations. You did that to yourself. Don't come crying to me. I don't give a shit. Okay. I'm really waiting for one of these days when one of you says in the chat, Carrie, could you not, just so I can say no. All right. I should put that on DJ. I really should do that. All right. I try to always have a section on get home bags. Your get home bag should only be what you really need for one overnight trip that you did not plan for. Or more to the point, you planned for hoping you'd never have. Right? That's the get home bag. Enough to get home. Everything else after that, we'll deal with after that. Oh, wow. Okay. That's actually true, folks. Give me a second, guys. I go through? Okay. That worked. We love you, Susan. You cunt. All right. Your get home bag needs to be enough to get home. How much do you really need to get home? Well, if you're in a region that is actually hot and oppressively hot, less. You still need enough to get home. And I'm talking about bags, sleeping bags, and foul weather gear. Believe it or not, no matter how hot it is where you live during the day, at night it's going to be cold. You want at least a light jacket to wrap up in it. All right, so a little over a month ago, I took a little trip out of town. I thought I was off to meet the next ex Mrs. Carey. Well, the next ex Mrs. Carey turned out to be a guy from Nigeria named Bob. So I went home empty-handed. It was also a 4-hour drive just to get there and a 4-hour drive to get home. I'm stopped on a roadside rest. I don't know where the next hotel is. I don't know where the next off-ramp is to turn around and go back to the last hotel. So I just stopped on this roadside rest, and fortunately, I did have a light blanket that was stuffed in the back seat. All right, only by happenstance did I have it, because okay, Bernie, we got you now, bro. Because I didn't take my get home bag with me on the trip. I didn't think I'd need it. I thought it'd be a 4-hour drive there, right? And a 4-hour drive back. That's an 8-hour day. I didn't think I would be standing around for 4 hours wondering, where is this bitch? She should have showed up 4 hours ago. Now, yes, you're right. That's my own fault. I shouldn't have hung around for 4 hours. Despite the fact that I talked to her on the phone for about 5-10 minutes to verify that, yes, we are meeting today. We'd actually exchanged a series of text messages when I got caught in some particularly heavy traffic about half an hour away. So I'm texting her saying, I'm caught in this traffic. I'm coming as fast as I can. Right? I should have realized when she wasn't there and waiting when I pulled up, because this is her hometown. Okay, you're right. Did that one to myself. Never occurred to me I'd be out overnight. I did. Well, you know what? Okay, no problem. Right? I had the light blanket wrapped up in that. And let me tell you, it got fucking shit cold that night. This is the middle of the desert, right? And it was shit cold. No, it was not ice cold. It wasn't even middle or early fall cold, but it was shit cold all night long. And thankfully, I did have that little blanket. You need to have, well, yeah, the little. It was actually my daughter's blanket, her blankie, from when she was little. She left it in my car and forgot about it or something, and I've had it ever since. I just never really thought it would be a lifesaver again. I just hold on to it for the memento value. It didn't occur to me I might need it. So consider adding some sort of light coat that you can use to wrap up during the night if you do have to. This bag here, which is, by the way, 99% demonstration, with some straps along the sides, right? I could easily put sweatshirt or, like I said, a light jacket. I actually have a blanket at the bottom rolled up. This is also mainly for if I ever had to go to Papa Carey's place. But really, really consider having something you can wrap up in overnight to stay warm. Okay. Where are we on time? I'm going to wrap it up there. I am going to close with a request of the community at large. The purpose of the live streams was to answer questions. And I'm not getting a whole lot of questions. All right. So I'm just going to float it out there. I'm interested in maybe bringing some guests in more often, right? I've already got one other guest lined up here in about a month, I think it is. Hey, Gulch, hi. You're catching just the very tail end. I'm sorry, dear. No, I was heading back. She asks, was I running with the immigrants in the desert at night? No, I was heading back empty-handed after a would-be next ex-Mrs. Carey meeting. Damn. Yeah. It's a long story, dear. All right. If you're willing to come on with me to harass, harangue, annoy, nettle, drop me an email or something, and I'll bring you in. As long as you're sober, do be sober. I had a guest on a while back. He was falling down sloppy drunk. I learned from that mistake. I would bring him back in, but I very much insist that he be sober next time. All right. That's actually a legitimately important detail to me. Excuse me. I will consider anybody except Daniel, because you know what the fuck your problem is. Mostly Gulch, 99%. Everything's personal with me, Sapien. Please be sober. Remember, 9017 is coming. Get your get home bag, because when 9017 hits for real, you may not even have that. That may not be necessarily enough. All right. You might be into bug out territory just to get home, which sucks to be you. And I'm sorry, there's nothing I can do about it. And keep calm and mandatory carry on.